Welcome to Frank Pello Reports, a feature where Frank shares conversations with members of our community.
Hello, this is Frank. I'm here with Barbara Santi to talk about her film, Gentle, Angry Women. Welcome to Source FM.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
So what is Gentle, Angry Women?
Good question, Frank. It's a documentary film. It's 63 minutes long. It was funded by the BFI, which is the British Film Institute, and it's about a thing called the Greenham Common Women's Peace Protest that started in 1981. And for 19 years, women basically camped around Greenham, which is just that's kind of outside London. And they were protesting against nuclear weapons coming to the American nuclear weapons coming to the UK and being deposited on this common land, which was common land called Greenham. And they started this march in 1981, a group of mothers and kind of like babies in pushchairs and stuff. And they wanted to talk to people and find out why that was happening. And what happened is that they ended up sort of camping there. Well, there was no plan. It just sort of kind of happened. And different people, like thousands and thousands of women, it was a women only camp, came to Greenham and set up camps around the 9 perimeter fence and put their body on the line, really. For 10 years, it was about kind of getting nuclear weapons back out of the UK, and the rest of the time was about getting Greenham back to common land, which they succeeded with both. And so the film is historical, but what my film is about is kind of 3 young female activists, one from Cornwall, one from Wales, and one from London, all teenagers, sort of under 19 years old at the time, and they go on a commemorative march that was set up by a lady called Rebecca Morden. So some people might know Rebecca because she's from the Falmouth area. She spent her time between Falmouth and London, and she runs a theatre company called Scary Little Girls. She got some heritage funding, and basically one of the things that she was doing a commemorative march to sort of mark the 40th anniversary. And so I met Rebecca at Falmouth University, in fact. We were both pitching to students about our different projects. Mine was about Jubilee Pool, hers was about Greenham, and I was just blown away at how she described Greenham and, because her mum had been there and she'd been there as a child, and it just captured my imagination. I go, I don't know anything about this. I should be the age that I should know something about it. Okay, I was a child at the time, but I don't know all this historical information, and I should know about it. So I became quite interested in how to make a historical story contemporary, relevant to kind of modern audiences and kind of younger audiences. And so this idea of the reason why we brought 3 young women into the mix is because she said, look, no one younger than us know anything about it, and it's terrible. And so she was doing a lot of campaigning to students and to younger people about this period of time. And so I thought, well, are there young people coming on the march? And because there was COVID, it was kind of unknown who was going to be able to come to the march. There were lockdowns and all sorts of things. So we created this idea that basically 3 young women would go on this march and discover Greenham. But during that process, we didn't know what was going to happen through the story. We didn't know that, I'm not going to give everything away, but we didn't know that one girl had a very strong connection to Greenham, her family connection. And also, I didn't want it just to end and go, oh, we've arrived and it's all gone and it's lovely sort of thing. What I wanted to sort of discover, which I didn't actually realise at the time, but another Greenham woman took us to another place called Aldermaston, which is only a few miles down the road from Greenham. And it's where the nuclear warheads are still being made today. And every other week, there is a camp that women go there and camp again and protest outside Aldermaston. And again, people don't know this is going on. So we took the girls there as well. So at the end of the film, we take that, and they realise that even though it's wonderful that Greenham has no longer got kind of nuclear weapons, a few miles down the road, the issue is still there, and it's kind of not talked about. So it's a film about kind of coming of age of kind of young women, about giving young women a voice. Men and young men seem to enjoy it as well. We've had, mothers and sons come, boyfriends and girlfriends come, and all the men that go there absolutely love it as well, because it's a story that they don't know, and it's a very uplifting and kind of hopeful story, but still shocking as well. And so, yeah, so we're screening it for pretty much the final time, I think, in Cornwall, in Falmouth at the Poly. We're back in the Poly, we've been before, on the 11th of August, which is next Tuesday at 7:30.
And have the screenings been around the country as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So we launched it on International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons, which is September the 26th last year, 2025. And my intention was to do a few screenings then and a few screenings during International Women's Day in March. And I had a few cinemas that I had kind of thought, oh, it would be nice there because I know I can get an audience. You know, I've done many, many screenings in Cornwall in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and in cinemas, in tents, and museums, and galleries. But outside Cornwall's a different beast. So I wasn't really sure how it was going to play out. I have had other films that someone else has taken to a few. But we've gone to over like 55 venues, really, and mostly people have come to us, as cinemas have come to us and said, "Oh, we've had people knowing about the film, they want to show it. Can we show it?" sort of thing. So, I had maybe sort of three cinemas that I knew that I think I could get an audience, and we've gone to like nearly, I think over 55 now. Yeah, so it's all over the country, from Scotland to Cornwall to Wales to Sussex and everything kind of in between. And yeah, it's fantastic, really.
And what are the realities of financing a film like this and getting it out and about?
Yeah, good question. So we got initial funding from the British Film Institute, BFI, and they helped us really kind of kickstart the project. And it was development money, but I always say there's no point in developing something if you're not going to make it and you're not going to show it. So I made my money work very hard, and we made the film kind of using that development money. And it sat in the hard drive because we couldn't finish it. And then they came back to us and said, "Well, we're closing this fund. Would you like to apply for a bit more?" And we're like, "Yes, please." So that got us over the line to actually finishing it. The touring of it was again finding other funds to support us as a company, as Arwen Productions, that we do lots of participatory work, collaborative work with various groups. And so some of that money has supported the screenings, because the majority of the screenings we've had either myself doing a Q&A, or some of the young women doing Q&As, or people from C&D, which is the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, or people from the Quakers. The Quakers were very, very supportive during that Greenham period, or Green Party, or kind of like, to do an environment group. So they've come to support the events. And so if I can't go somewhere, generally someone is there to hold the Q&A afterwards. And they're usually very lively kind of like discussions. And there's always kind of some Greenham women in the audience, which is fantastic. Um, it's not easy. It's not easy, not at all. Because at the end of the day, we're not a big blockbuster company with a huge budget for distribution and raising its profile. We're a tiny team, There's kind of Danielle, who I know that Frank, and your audiences might know from the radio station, who's been doing lots of publicity for me, and another wonderful lady called Emma. And so when the money comes in, it sort of goes to them to then try and get an audience and raise a profile. Yeah, it's really tricky. So without kind of funding, it wouldn't be possible really to screen cinemas, because the visibility is so hard against like big blockbusters, really.
And what do you think of independent venues like the Poly?
Oh, fantastic. Super supportive, wonderful team, great venue, great place, absolutely. Yeah, I think people should be, trying to support it as much as possible. Otherwise, these small independent venues will go. And to be honest, of course everyone wants to see the latest whatever that comes out. But, independent filmmakers like myself, and others, that are breaking outside of Cornwall. If independent cinemas didn't take a risk on people like us, then we just wouldn't have the opportunities. So, the big chains are great, but they're very difficult to sort of crack at the end of the day. So, without the independent cinemas, you wouldn't get kind of the variety and the diversity of kind of films in the cinema. It would just be a lot of American films, or big budgets. And I think there's a lot to contribute as these small independent films. There's been like Joe in the Water, that's been kind of really successful. There's been Iowa Land. There's lots of kind of like small indies that have kind of really had success.
So if people want to find out more about Gentle, Angry Women, where should we direct them?
To find out more, you go to folklifefilms.co.uk. You'll see Gentle Angry Women button, and you click in there, and all the information will be there, as well as kind of the screenings of where we've been and where we might be going around the country, and obviously kind of the Polly screening next Tuesday.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Barbara, and I look forward to seeing what you work on next.
Thank you, and I hope to see some people at the Polly next week.
Back to the studio.